Okay, what's up traders? What's up tycoons? Super excited for today's video. We're going to start off looking at BOIL, which is the leveraged natural gas ETF, and then we're actually going to jump into UNG. Now, the reason we're looking at BOIL is because it could be a leading indicator of what possibly is to come on UNG. So we're going to start off with this, and then we'll break down the actual levels of the United States Gas Fund. Make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you guys are new. I'm going to be dropping UNG updates, and I'm also going to be including BOIL in every single one of these videos from now on, just to add a little bit of a bonus in there. But what we're looking at here is a small descending wedge, right? A falling wedge. This is a bullish pattern, but certain things need to happen for it to play out, right? So we're looking to see if we're going to get some type of a breakout to the upside. Now, basically we're looking for a bullish move, but we don't have really any bullish indicators yet. Or do we, right? So actually we use the MACD and the relative strength index to our advantage to spot possible bullish indicators. The first one we're going to go over is the RSI. And you can look for something known as bullish divergence. So notice how we're making a low here and a lower low here, right? So clearly the stock is in a downtrend. But if you look at the RSI, we have a low and then we have an equal low, right? And look at how many times we've really bounced upon this support line here. This is what's known as a bullish divergence. In this case, a slight bullish divergence, because we're making lower lows on the actual stock, but we're creating equal lows on the relative strength index. So this would be known as a slight bearish or bullish divergence, indicating we may get some type of bullish activity in the future. Okay. If you take a look here, we also have the MACD with a buy signal. So if you're not familiar with the MACD, it does give you entry and exit signals, and you can spot them by using this blue line here, right? So we see the blue line cross below this orange line here. All right. That happened right at here at this moment. And then look what happened. We had a big move to the downside. Very similar to over here. We see the MACD cross below the orange line again. And look what happens. We get a big move to the downside. Look at what has recently happened on BOIL. The blue line has crossed above the orange line on the MACD. We have a bullish chart pattern and we have bullish divergence on the relative strength index. So I'm not saying that BOIL has to go and rally all the way back up to the 50s, but given that we have three things that we're looking at that indicate we could see some type of bullish activity, I would expect BOIL really to get some type of a bounce here soon. Now, it's not guaranteed, right? This video isn't financial advice. What it is just teaching you the different strategies that you can use to look out for. Okay, so if we do get a breakout, okay, in a perfect world scenario, yes, it is going to take it up to where the pattern began, up at 59 on BOIL, but there's no guarantees on that. Okay, now this is a leveraged ETF, so you could see some type of explosive move like that. But what you're going to look for some type of a breakout, and then you're going to look to see if you end up getting a MACD sell signal afterwards. That's going to be your exit signal, right? So here's the entry signal, and then your exit signal is going to be just like over here, right? You're not gonna hold on to it if you come up to 20 or you come up to 30 and you end up getting a MACD sell signal, because as you can see in the past, once you've gotten those sell signals, there's been a sharp move to the downside each time. So it's one of my favorite indicators. It works best on the daily chart. So keep that in mind, right? If you're zooming down to smaller time frames or you're zooming out to, larger time frames, the MACD is truly most effective on the daily chart. So just keep that in mind. Now that we've done that, we're going to jump over here to UNG, okay, and really break that down for you guys. So now that we're zoomed out on UNG, we're going to go over the divergences. We're going to break down the patterns, okay, and show you guys everything so you truly understand it. We'll start off here with a bullish or a bearish divergence. So notice how we're making a high on the chart and then a higher high on this chart. Clearly, the stock was in an uptrend, but if you look at our relative strength index, we're going to zoom down a little bit. You can see we actually made a high and then a lower high, right? Here's our high at this point, and then at this point, we made a lower high. So, the relative strength index was making lower highs while this was making higher highs. And look what happened. We got a huge move to the downside. Now, what coincided with that was a MACD sell signal right here. So we got a bearish divergence, a MACD sell signal, and then a huge move to the downside, accordingly, right, based off of those two sell signals. Over here, as we progress through the chart, what do we end up seeing? Well, we ended up getting a head and shoulders pattern, right? So here's our left shoulder, here's our head, here's our right shoulder. As this right shoulder was forming, look at what we got, a MACD sell signal, right? So we're seeing a bearish chart pattern set up, and then we're seeing a MACD sell signal, and we get a large move to the downside afterwards. What I'm trying to emphasize here is you don't want to enter into a trade based off of just one strategy or just one indicator, okay? You want to see multiple things aligned. When you have multiple strategies coming together, that's going to give you more confidence in your trade. Okay, so you can use the MACD, you can use the relative strength index, you can use chart patterns, you can use your retracement levels. If you're not familiar with the retracement levels, that's what these three are right here: the 61.8, the 50%, and the 38.2% retracement levels using the Fibonacci tool. On TradingView, it's right here. Most stock trading platforms have them anyways. But what this does is nothing moves in a straight line up or down. You get a move up, retracement, continuation higher, or you get a move down, retracement, continuation lower. You can spot reversals when you break through those retracement levels, right? So a reversal to the downside would look something like this, and a reversal to the upside would look something like this, right? Breaking through those retracement levels. That's not been the case on UNG. Natural gas has been rejecting its retracement levels for the entire year of 2022, basically. We see, you know, there's a rejection right there. We come down, retrace, come up to 50%, reject, head lower. We move down, retrace, come up to 61.8, head lower. So what we're doing is we're tracking our most recent swing high to our most recent swing low. And it's got three levels that we need to be cautious of if we do get some type of a bounce, right? If we do start to rally, we need to be very cautious at these three levels, right? And these levels are going to change. Okay, they're going to change as UNG goes lower and makes new lows. You have to adjust it from the swing high to the most recent swing low. So that's why these levels have changed each time I've dropped a UNG video, because coincidentally, it has also gone lower. Now we're actually doing a decent job of respecting the support levels that I gave everyone. Okay, so if you take a look, you know, when I first started covering it, we were right around here. And I said, hey, 1167 is going to be your major support level. If we break below there, most likely we're going to come down to 1026. We've come down to 1026. If you look right now, that's exactly where we're closing at. So that's really, you know, our big support level. Okay. Now, just like UNG, or just like Boyle, okay, UNG, we're looking for a MACD crossover. So if you take a look on UNG, the MACD has not crossed above the orange line yet, but we just took a look at the leverage ETF, and the leverage ETF, we did get the MACD crossover. So the question is that going to be an indicator? And could possibly UNG MACD on the daily chart start to curl above? We also have a stronger bullish divergence on UNG itself, right? So we have the low here, we have a lower low here, we have a low, and we're actually getting higher lows on our relative strength index. Now, keep in mind, since I've been making these videos, I've basically highlighted that you want to hold this trend line here. If we break this trend line, that's going to be a bad sign for UNG. Now, the more times you test the trend line, the weaker it gets. So it's going to be really interesting to see what we do, right? Because we have our low, we have our higher low over here, but we've already recently tested this trend line on the RSI about 4 or 5 times. If we break, we could get a look below and fail, right? And so if we just dip below and then come back into this range and start moving higher, that's actually going to be pretty bullish. But you have to be cautious of, you know, a break, retest, and then head lower. If that happens, our next support level is 904. And most likely we're either going to test or break through that support level of 904 on UNG. Now, keep in mind, 904, 1031, 1167, those are the three main levels that we're really going to be trading in. And, you know, it's going to be in this little box right here. Okay, we want to see us break out of this box to the upside for any signs of a reversal. If that does happen, we have our three major retracement levels. Remember, we move down, we retrace, and then we continue lower, or we move down, retrace, and then break through those levels. So 1734, 1599, and 1464 are going to be the three major levels of resistance that you need to be cautious of. I would not go long at any of these levels, and I wouldn't go short at any of these levels. I would display some patience and wait for the signals to happen, right? And you know, you want to see, are you going to break above your 61.8% retracement level, or are you going to reject these levels and head back down lower, right? That's when you can go long above, or you can go short back below these levels. These three levels right here is going to be a good time to put a stop loss on your play if you are in some profit and you're riding the momentum up and it does happen to go up to those levels. Definitely throw a stop loss on at those levels so that way you can protect your trade. You need to have some form of risk management. You can always re-enter if we do break above, retest, and continue higher. You can enter a new position and start anew. And if we break below those levels, you can look to possibly take things short. Now, there's no guarantee we have to get a bounce, but it does make sense to get some type of a bounce after such a move to the downside, right? We've got this whole move to the downside. We really haven't bounced at all. And it would perfectly justify a bounce, right? Not only are we testing our trend line here, that's one possible bullish signal that we, bouncing off of this trend line. We could bounce off of this trend line. That's one signal. A second signal right here is going to be the relative strength index bullish divergence. And then our third signal that we're really looking for is going to be that MACD curling above the orange line. Okay, that's really the final buy signal that we're looking for, an entry signal that we're looking for. Now remember, no strategy is 100%. Even if you combine all three strategies together that I've displayed in this video, it's still not going to be 100% guaranteed. So again, it isn't financial advice, but this will give you more confidence in your trades, right? So you can be more confident rather than just buying into something blindly and hoping that it goes up. Now you actually have a thesis. Now you actually have a strategy. And you'll see over time when you start to get 2, 3, 4, 5 indicators aligning together of some possible future bullish or bearish activity, that your odds of success are also increasing as well. All right. So appreciate you watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new. All right. I do viewer requests every single week also as well. So if you want to see your ticker, your stock, your bond, your cryptocurrency in the next video, all you got to do is comment down below and I'll drop a nice TA video on it, giving you my thoughts on where it can go to the upside, where it can go to the downside. So that way you get an unbiased view and a view of both scenarios. Okay.